Who is Eileen Lasker?
People see my names, they think I'm either white or I'm married to a white.
It's another very exciting moment with a very, very special guest.
So I grew up in a place called Kinango. I don't know that you have heard anything about Kinango.
I have had.
Pronunciation. There's river, there's liver. I mean, I never heard something like that.
If you want to become a pilot, you speak to a pilot.
So I joined the circle when I was 23. What that did for me was to instill the discipline of saving.
If you want to become a billionaire, speak to a billionaire.
You know, I told some guys that come from the village market. I said, no, not village market, real village.
And if you want to be financially free, listen to this conversation that we're just about to have.
When you commit, you commit. You don't even touch this, man. Just like you don't touch your pay. So I think going to Western Kenya, first, there's a cultural element. I mean, they are so different. The way they do things is very different. It's a bit more, I would say, more improved version, like it's a bit more urbanite, if you want. So I had a little bit of work to do around fitting in, even how I dressed. I mean, look, it's a girl from Kinango, so even this, how you do styling and everything, I didn't have it at all prior. I mean, Kinango, the only time you dress is going to church. And after church, you remove that dress, pack it, and go to feed the cows. You wear the goza, you know? So this was a totally different. And obviously, 4 years, if you think about it, it's a very short time. Because in school for 3 months and you're at home for a month or so. So I wouldn't say she had a lot of influence on me. And this is the thing, Piers, a lot of the foundations of a child happens when 0 and 12. Their worldview is formed. Their belief systems are very solid. And so after that level, shaking that is hard.
And you're meeting her when you're right in your teenagehood.
Exactly. Yet, and then also she had such a different personality, or she has such a different personality from my grandmother. Very different personality. So I think it was adjusting. Trying to be an urbanite, but still I have these strong foundations of Kinango girl. Hardworking and very with strong resolve to survive and to succeed. And then how would I put it? So we were trying to understand and know each other in the process, and before we realized the 4 years were over. But I would say she did her best to actually nurture me as a teenage girl with the support of my stepfather and my aunties who also were around her. But as I said, we didn't have such a strong relationship
at that point.
But I thank God it has built over time. And now we are at the best of the places we were being with her.
Okay. We can now move away from Mumias. The Kinango, where does the Kinango girl go from here?
From Mumias, she goes to the university.
University of Nairobi?
No, I went to Egerton University.
Egerton, okay.
What was interesting there, again, an episode that's interesting, was me being admitted to do home economics at the university, and my stepfather deciding that, what can they teach? I don't know, for whatever reason, according to him, home economics was about cooking and taking care of home. And as far as he was concerned, I was very tidy, I knew how to organize things, I knew how to cook. I was like, Bomboy, what are you going to be doing for 4 years, learning what you already do? But then my mother put her foot down and said, no, she's got to go to the university. And I'm glad she did that, because then I would have possibly done CPAs or something without necessarily going to campus. But going to college also helped me mature. But when I arrived there, courtesy of my stepfather's words, I was like, I'm not doing these home economics things. If I used to call it home science, obviously we were it was a very narrow focus of what home economics is all about.
Very posh name, home economics.
Yes, but then it was like, my stepfather said, that's home science. I was like, no, I'm not doing home science for a degree. So I decided I want to do something different, because I had the grades for one of the top courses at the university at that time. So there was mechanical, there was engineering, then there was agribusiness, then there was agricultural economics. And I was like, I want to do agricultural economics. And I camped at the dean's office for half of the semester. My mother does not know this, maybe she'll hate when she listens to this. I camped there, and I was like, I was not going to go to learn home science. So I didn't go for classes, I went and camped there. Eventually, they had to give me what I wanted to do.
which was
agricultural economics. This was my
economics had to be there.
It had to be there.
Yes.
And you see, growing up in Kinangop, you know, I was exposed to agriculture. Farming was the main thing. So I'm like, this maybe I can do something with farming.
Yes.
Never mind, I've never used that course now. But what was so interesting is when I finally joined that class, it was a small class. The class representative, I remember her telling me, you know, this is a very tough course, and you're coming in late. You know, I am not sure you'll make it. Maybe you should have stuck with the other one, after all.
Yeah.
Because we have so many classes here. It's very tough, even for us who've been there. So I'm not sure. With an attitude of you can't hack it.
Yeah.
But I was in my mind. I was like, you know what? I'll do this.
Yeah.
And we graduated, both of us, with second class honors upper division. So really,
wow.
Again, I resolved to, if you say I cannot do it, I'm overcoming this.
Yeah. So
and I was a kawaida girl. I was not those guys who went hanging out and you know, doing stuff. I think the Kinangop foundations of my grandmother, you know, what she put in me, the hard work, the spirituality, and she was a single lady, so she was also very independent. So she did everything all by herself. So I knew that, you know, independence is good. I loved the way when everybody was waiting for the husband to do stuff, I kind of liked the way she would like even fence for herself, take care of.
Wow.
You know, she did almost.
Your grandma was around?
Yes.
Your grandpa was around?
No, she was a single woman. So she did everything by herself. If it's discipline, there was no one to come and discipline me. She'll do it herself. So you do something on Monday, your father is coming on. Some reason the fathers used to work away, so they would come, and there was a lot of cases, like my neighbors. And you'd hear the fights, because it's a squatter, so you can hear the neighborhood, what's happening. But my grandmother, she dealt with it then, you know, so there was no keeping of the punishment. It has happened. It is happening now. And we move on, but also very deep in her spiritual work. And I think that's part of the foundation that I've grown up with.
That's very interesting. We are tracking this Kinangop girl. So you can see in Kinangop, that's where the foundation is laid. In Mumias, there's a cultural. You become a more posh Kinangop girl.
Yes.
So what did the university do to the Kinangop girl?
The university, I would say, I think for me, university was just study. It was just study. I didn't have what people would call have a life. I just did my studies and focused on that with little. Again, that's the first time you get your money to work with. There was pocket money in high school, but in campus now this is your money, deal with it for 3 months or whatever. So again, managing my finances, ensuring that, you know, I see my kids nowadays, when they run out of money, they call and say, I've run out of money. There was no that opportunity during our days. Is you work with what you have, plan with what you have, and make it work, including having fear to take you home when you close. And
these are the government loans that students used to get?
Exactly. Exactly.
So was that your first exposure to finances? Well,
I had pocket money in high school, but you see, more or less in high school, everything it's being provided for. But we went to campus when the system had just changed, so that you bought your food, you bought your books, there's a lot you needed to do for yourself. So it was my first, I think, exposure to you have money and finances. You have to.
It's a scarce resource.
Exactly. It's limited, and you have things needs to meet. So how do you work it out? So I think that was my first real encounter with financial planning for myself.
Okay. So what happens after Egerton? Is it Egerton?
Well, it depends on how you want to. Group of schools or academy or primary school, you know, depending on where you come from. Some people call it Egerton. I'm really not fussy about it. So after that, I get my first job with the government, and I was so lucky that I was in the Ministry of Cooperative Development.
I did not know. You've been my friend for a long time that you worked for government.
I did for a year though.
Today we are discovering you.
For a year though, it was just for 1 year. But what was interesting is that I got exposed to the circle world very early. In fact, it was almost like when you join the ministry, you know, people tell you, like, you can't be talking about corporate when you're not a member of a circle. So I joined a circle when I was 23.
Yeah. Wow.
And I've been a member of a circle all these years. I've moved and changed the circles, but I've been a member of a circle. I can't even imagine how people live without such a connection to a place where they can stay. Because what that did for me was to instill the discipline of saving. Okay.
So it's a check-off system. It just,
exactly.
Yeah.
So when you commit to, I guess I think I was putting in maybe 2,000 or something like that, or maybe less. I can't remember the exact figure. But when you commit, you commit. You don't even touch this money. Just like you don't touch your pay. You know, it's checked off and it goes to the right people. But I started now knowing, okay, so you can save. And of course I was teaching circles these things. So I almost feel like my whole purpose of going to the circle was God just exposing me to that. That there's a way you can actually borrow money in a cheaper way than borrowing from a bank, for example. Then I also had a small business I was running around that time, around a skill that I have.
You were already starting business? Yes,
I had my first shop at 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I used to knit.
Yes.
Yeah. So as a girl, my grandma taught me how to knit. My mom polished that skill a bit.
The Kinangop girl is still showing up.
I know, right? So my grandma would, like, you know, we'd do a few, would undo maybe old sweaters and you know, make something out of it. So, and then part of home science, I got a bit of skill. But my mom polished that because now there used to be parents magazines where every month came with a pattern. So my mom taught me how to do that. And so when I was expecting my first
magazine had a pattern of
for knitting. It was like the thing that people bought it for.
Wow, I remember that magazine, but that
you never saw anything to do with knitting. Of course, you know. There was mostly a knitting pattern for babies.
Wow.
For making babies something.
Yeah.
So when I was expecting my firstborn, I actually started to knit. And one of my friends told me, you should actually make this a business. Like, really? Yeah. And so I bought a machine, I started knitting, and I had a shop in Kenyatta Market. I started bringing dresses for kids until my second job showed up.
And you're still working for government?
Yes. I had someone I employed. I had my first employer.
And you had a shop in Kenyatta Market?
Yes, I had a shop. It was
stall
number 34.
You started with a bang.
I know, right?
You are not wasting time.
No.
And by the way, is this the first time that you are now in Nairobi? Because we have not spoken about Nairobi.
Yes, I'm new in Nairobi.
You're new in Nairobi?
I've gotten married now. I'm in Nairobi.
Oh,
and
we need to come back to that story.
Let's talk about finances. Let's talk about the marriage. Will come later.
Will come later.
But yeah, I'm expecting a baby, and I'm at home. I don't have a job that time. You know, right after campus, I didn't have a job.
At 23?
Yeah.
23, 24?
Yeah. So I am knitting, and a friend says, you could turn this to a business, you know. So this came before I just joined the government. So I opened the shop just before the government.
I see.
You know, but when I was in the government, you're not very busy. So I employed someone, so I would pass by in the evening or pass by very early in the morning before I come to the office. But I had a business, and actually, I was making more money than the salary.
Wow.
Yeah, I was making more money with the business than the salary then.
Amazing.
Yeah. But then I knew working with the government it was a bit more last.
Which year was this?
Gosh, 97 to 98. I just did 1 year.
Yeah.
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 Yeah.